Let's move on to his running mate, if you will, in the backfield. And let's talk about Jadarian Price. And I'll let you I think I started with Trevor last time, didn't I? So I will start with Brian this time. Yeah, man.
The fact that you were thinking about starting with Jadarian Price, my guy,
I know.
with anybody else,
I know.
There's about to be some furniture moving in this thing now. I'll tell you right now.
Well, what I was going to say to kind of kick this one off, I was going to say something along the lines of the oft overlooked Jadarian Price, at least nationally. I mean, look, we as Notre Dame fans and analysts, we know who Jadarian Price is for the most part, right? I still think that there's a level that he hasn't gotten to
We
yet.
know who he is.
Yeah.
The question is how much
there you go
better can he get?
But he is overlooked nationally. And that article that we talked about earlier in the day just absolutely exemplifies that to a T. So, Brian, let's talk about Jadarian Price.
There are some national folks that recognize him for being what he is. I think Greg McElroy might look at that list of duos and be like, why isn't the Notre Dame running backs on there? He's one guy that has recognized how good this running back room is and how good Jadarian Price is. I don't even think he has Jadarian as good as I think he is, but I understand why he doesn't. But Jadarian is the one back who can get better, who can improve his game. And with Jadarian, it's more of a mindset thing. I think Jadarian Jadarian did last year what I'm worried about Jeremiah doing this year, where Jadarian was always big game hunting because I don't know that he knew he was going to get enough carries to go do something. And when you're thinking I may only get 5 carries in a game, that can lead some guys to being in a situation where they think, well, I got to make the most out of my 5 carries. I've got to go, bust one for a big play. And what that would do is at times that would get Jadarian in a little bit of trouble. At times his minus is this. The other thing people have to understand is they run a lot more duo with him and a lot more counter with him, plays where there's potential for there to be mistakes. And there's a lot of negatives that he had last year where there were just run throughs and there's nothing he could do about it. When he gets a clean lane, he's a home run back. There just were a couple times where you felt like a game where you felt like Jadarian was trying to do something instead of saying, dude, it's okay. Just take the 4, and once you get through, and this is why once you get him one-on-one against a defender, it's lights out for that defender. Just go ask the safeties from Georgia Tech and go ask Jalen Sneed, because he did to Jalen Sneed on the first play of the blue gold game what he did to the Georgia Tech guy on his first carry of that game, where there's a hole open on the left. The safety comes down. There's nobody blocking the safety. It's him versus Jadarian. And next thing you know, the safety's laying face first in the turf, and Jadarian's running up the field for a 20-plus yard gain. Right? Go ask the linebackers from Texas A&M who are like, ooh, running 24s in the hole. And the next thing you know, bounce outside 46-yard touchdown run. Like, that's the thing. Go ask that defensive end from Purdue who thought he was going to end the first half with a tackle for loss on Jadarian. He came through unblocked. And next thing you know, my man's 75 yards into the end zone. So that's the thing is you are that back. You are a home run back, but you've got to know when to just get 3, when it's okay to just get 4 or 2. And so it's just about being more of a patient runner and then letting those big plays come to you. Because when you do that, you're as good of a home run. I'd love to see his what's his carries of 10 or more yards compared to other backs on a per touch basis. I would love to see what that number is. I'm actually going to go try to look that up while we're doing the show, but he is a legitimate go-to back. He's a legitimate number 1 back who just happens to be on a team where the number 1 back in the country is also on his team. And that's kind of part of, like, for example, last year Jeremiah Love had carried the ball 162 times. And Jadarian Price, actually 163 times, and Jadarian carried 120 times. So that's 43 more carries for Jeremiah. Jeremiah only had 2 more 10-yard runs than Jadarian did last year. That's it, according to Pro Football Focus. 2 on 43 more carries. So, like, Jadarian is a big play back, but what he has to do is he's got to avoid the negative runs, the minuses, the mistakes, the -4s that aren't his fault. Some are not his fault. And but like as good as Jeremiah was last year, according to Pro Football Focus, Jeremiah averaged 4.39 yards per contact yards after contact per attempt. Jadarian was a 4.5. So it just shows his explosiveness, but he's got what made Jeremiah a better there's reasons why Jeremiah is a better player, but one of the reasons why is because Jeremiah was more willing to let it play out, let the system work for him instead of always hunting for that big play. And that's where Jadarian's got to get better. And then the biggest thing for me is if Jadarian wants to be on the field more, take more pride in blocking. His pass blocking is still disappointing, even in the blue gold game. It's like, you're a physical back. You've got to be better at this. Aeneas Williams in his first year at Notre Dame should not be a better pass blocker than you. And that's a part, like, that's more, if you want to play in the NFL, like, Notre Dame doesn't need him to necessarily do that. It'd be nice if he did, because then they could do more 21 personnel stuff with the throwing game. But if you want to be that guy, the more you show you're capable in the pass game, that not only is it going to help the team, but it's going to help your draft stock as well.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to add. We view Jadarian Price very, very similarly. I mean, he is a big play back. Where I want to see his improvements is just sometimes accepting the 3-4 yard gains and limiting some of the, no gains to negative 2 yard runs. But the biggest thing that lies for his improvement is the pass protection aspect of his game, because he is a running back that I would love to see on the field on third down with his ability to make people miss in the open field. We know that Notre Dame is not shy about going forward on fourth down. If they're in a situation where they run some sort of draw or inside zone on third and whatever, Jadarian Price is somebody that could either move the sticks for you or get you in contention to go for a 4th and short. Potentially, he's that type of back, but he has to show his ability as a pass blocker. Vince, anything to add on Jadarian Price?
You guys pretty much nailed it. I'm going to lead off on the next guy, so I'm ready. I'm ready to kind of rock and roll there. But no, Jadarian Price has a great opportunity here to really stamp his name on this room, because look, there's a good chance that both Love and Price are gone after this year, and so this is going to be the opportunity for Jadarian Price to really make a name, make more of a name for himself from a national level. And not that he's in the shadow of Jeremiah Love, but he is kind of, right? He needs to be able to kind of step out of that shadow a little bit and not be looked at as the second guy on the field, but, a tandem, right? And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for him moving forward. So those are my thoughts on Jadarian Price.
But I think he accomplishes that by just staying more within the system.
Absolutely.
Just let your talent speak for itself. Don't try to make something happen. I think some of the times the biggest mistakes that running backs can make, receivers can make, quarterbacks can make is when they try to make a play. And then, forcing something that's not there. Sometimes on 3rd and 9, it's just take the check down. The other thing is not there. The big play is not there. The home run is not there. It's 3rd and 9. If you try to force something downfield, it might be a pick. Hey, you know what? Just take the check down and see if Jeremiah or Jadarian or Aeneas can make something happen. That's really going to be the key.